Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Ammar, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to have Phil Kenneth, the principal partner of Clearview Accounting Services. This is a firm specializing in accounts payable recovery, unclaimed property, and contract compliance services. With over 50 years of combined experience, Clearview is dedicated to helping businesses recover lost funds, eliminate overpayments, and ensure financial accuracy through expert recovery solutions. Phil, welcome to Founders Future.
Hey, it's great to be here.
I'm excited to have you. I always like to start from the beginning. So take us on a
Okay.
journey a little bit to before you started the company.
Okay.
What was the motivation, the inspiration behind starting it, and really what problems were you looking to solve in the market?
Really, what I always thought it really of starting my own company, and it really had to do with transparency. I pretty much worked for the two market leaders in this industry. The one thing I thought we lacked was transparency. Really, everything was batched up or rolled up into one line item. It wasn't transparent where the issue arose from, what site location, if they were ERS, which manufacturing, that's how they invoice. It's really the
Mm,
back the bill of lading becomes the invoice. Basically, okay, who's the person in purchasing who didn't update the correct pricing? So there was really no reporting around that. Sure, we did the simple like status reports. Okay, here's your root cause, but it didn't drill down and say, okay, who's the person or how are these duplicate payments arising from? Who needs additional training? What site location has a returns issue?
mm,
Let's look at the best site location and see if they have a flow chart that can help the one with the worst, who has the most mistakes, right, or most issues with
yeah,
returns. And so, really, that I've always had this in the back of my head is really being a lot more transparent and really being a preferred partner, not looked at as a contractor. That's what people really, third party contractors, and I really don't like that terminology. I'd rather be looked at as a preferred partner. Hey, they actually want to help us out. And the second thing, the biggest thing too, is every year, probably for the last, I've been in this industry about 23, 24 years. My partner's been in it almost 30, is really looking at there's always a 3 to 7% revenue increase in your yearly forecast. And so really it shouldn't be a continued apex. It should actually, the apex should be the first year and then 15 to 20% reduction in claim if you're a true valued preferred partner. And that's really another big thing is I thought about is let's really help the client get that 15 to 20% reduction rather than continuously trying to upsell them on, hey, expansion of scope. Hey, do you want to buy our software? I mean, continuously upselling.
yeah,
And I really didn't want to go down that route. I solely
yeah.
want to focus on helping them, making sure their staff is well educated and the people that need to be retrained can actually, I can provide those reports for them.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. And
Okay.
the claim, by the way, the 15 to 20%, that stuck out to me when I
Yep.
was doing research. So for the listeners that are laymen, they don't understand
Yeah.
the different terminologies, not as well versed in the field as you are. Let's step back so they can get a clear understanding of Clearview and what you guys do. So let's start off with who is your customer avatar? Who do you prefer? Who do you love to work with, or who do you typically work with? And then from there, what are the different offers and services that you guys provide?
Okay. So mainly we focus on manufacturing, pharmaceutical, and then service-based industries. We really do all of them. I really don't do any of the educational. I did some government in the past, but really those are my three main focuses on is the manufacturing, the pharma industry, medical equipment, and then the service space, meaning the banking or insurance.
Got it. And then from there, what are the different offers and services that you guys provide?
Yeah, so basically Our AP solutions, what's in our suite per se, would be your typical overpayment review. And that's really focusing on duplicate payment errors. And then also we do with that, it coincides with a statement review. So we contact your suppliers requesting a complete statement, and then we reconcile, basically helping not only, again, this goes back to my preferred partner, we want to make sure we help your supplier base too, and we're not seen as a collections agency. So meaning if they have issues, outstanding invoices that need paid, we help them also. But we also look for unapplied cash, see if we can help them apply their cash correctly, and then open credits and determine why those credits are open. So again, we have to really tie those out to the original transaction, determine if they're valid or not, and
Yeah.
then submit those and get those credits posted. So that's one aspect. And then we do contract compliance, and that
Okay.
really derives from the open statements, right? So if I notice a lot of pricing issues, warranty rebate root cause, then we want to go to purchasing, get purchasing involved, see if we can do a deep dive on those contracts, look for all the anomalies for pricing, warranties, rebate issues, and also another, since a lot more and more clients are outsourcing some of their tasks to a third party, we also do labor rate buildup, which is third party labor, making sure each title and their pay rate is paid correctly, because you see a lot of anomalies in that also. So that's
Yeah.
really part of the contract compliance review that we offer. And then we also do tax, sales and use tax, and then some tax issues. Should you pay tax? Is it non-taxable depending on the state? And then we also do unclaimed property, try to recoup money back, depending on where that money was escheated to.
Interesting. Very cool. So there's a whole different suite of offerings. Would you say that there's one or two that are the main bread and butter in terms of 80% of the revenue comes from X or Y or Z?
Yeah, I'd say 80% comes from the AP solutions, the overpayment, and then the supplier review, looking
Yeah.
to determine if there's open credits. But there's a lot of things that go into that, right? Because
Yeah.
we're doing a data mine, so we're understanding each client's different, understanding their software, and also analyzing their supplier portal. We found a lot of issues with how those
Yeah.
suppliers have been set up, right, as a one-time payment, which none of the credits can get applied since they're set up as a one time. So issues like that, and that all stems from the AP review. I like to say AP project review. I really
Okay.
shy away from the word audit because we're not an audit firm.
Yeah.
We're helping our clients recover lost funds, lost
Yeah.
revenue. We're not auditing. We do assist them in their internal controls, systemic issues. We want to point those out, which we do when we have our biweekly status calls,
Yeah.
but we don't really audit. We want to make sure that we can help them if we notice additional employees need training. We're
Got
not,
it.
that's one of the hardest things is when people hear the word audit, they freeze up. They think we're out for their jobs. And that's definitely
Yeah.
not what we're here for.
Definitely. It's good caveat
Yeah.
to point out, hey, we're not here for that specifically. AP
Yeah.
stands for accounts payable.
That's
Just for
correct. Yeah.
people listening. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear on that. So it's accounts payable there. What does it look like? Let's say I'm a manufacturing company and I come in and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, Phil, let's work on this together. We need some help around these, specifically the AP solutions. What
Mm-hmm.
does a typical client engagement look like? Is there a specific time frame for how long it takes? Am I being billed hourly? Is it a one-time flat fee depending on the scope of work? What does that look like?
Yeah, so we actually work on a contingency fee, which is really good for our client base. So if we don't find any money, they have great internal controls. They're on top of it. We recover zero funds. Basically, we still submit a management assessment report, let them know all their findings. And typically in the contingency fee, it really depends on two factors. It's really the overall spend and then the regions included. When I say regions, is it all of Americas, EMEA, and Asia Pac? And typically anything less than let's just call it $1 billion. Okay. That's going to have It's probably going to be a little higher rate because it's lower spend. So you're probably looking at anywhere from 20 to 30% rate. And that will take 90 days. So
Yeah.
when I say start to completion, that's when our data that goes through our QA analysis goes into production. That the day it goes into production is day one, and we'll have that AP review completed within 90 days.
Okay.
Typically, our goal is, what I see for the most part, the median is anywhere from really, I would say, 8 to 10 billion. That's probably the median AP review. And then anything over that, I would say I've done all the way up to 26 billion pharmaceutical. Those tend to be higher spend. Those can typically take anywhere from 9 months to 12 months.
Wow. So 8 to 10 billion. What do you mean by that? Is that like revenue? Is that like market cap of the company?
Yeah, it's great. That's what we consider auditable spend, even though I try not to use the word auditable. But again, we exclude all nonprofit individuals, tax authorities, government, schools, universities. Typically, a lot of our clients don't want to contact law firms. So once that's excluded, and that usually equates to about 40% of their overall spend, is for is probably about roughly 60% is considered auditable spend for this review.
So we're talking about some big numbers. We're not like,
Yeah, it's a lot of data crunching, which
yeah,
is good. So you understand their data. You start coming up with hypothesis of this is what I think could be wrong doing your test.
yeah.
There's so many things involved. It's just not a simple process where you go in, do this. Every client's so different, like
Mm,
pharmaceutical. You want to look at R&D. Okay. That's typically where the errors are. If you look at manufacturing, it's in their pricing. Okay. Because the PO price isn't getting updated. And typically over 80% of their transactions are ERS, which
yeah.
is the invoice off the bill of lading or shipping number. Okay.
Interesting.
And so there's a lot of certain root cause issues depending on and aligned to each industry.
Yeah,
Um,
that makes a lot of sense. And I can
yeah,
imagine that there's nuances and there's different variables depending on the client, what they need, all that good stuff. I'm super
yeah.
curious from a business perspective, like actually running this type of company. Have you found challenges when it comes to scalability because there's a lot of different offerings and a lot of different solutions? And really, the reason that I ask this, let me give you more context, because
Mhm.
we've worked with different accounting professionals and different tax professionals, just helping them scale their company and whatnot. What we found is that typically, if they hone in on one or two, maybe a handful of things that they want to help people with, then it's a lot easier to systematize the process and to
Mhm.
make it more streamlined, and then they can scale more efficiently. I'm
Yep.
curious if you've run into challenges when it comes to that and how you've navigated that.
Yeah, actually, but the last company I worked for was we didn't have a lot of experience. They brought me over to lead in Americas to lead the AP team over Americas. So really, no one had contract compliance experience. You're talking their entry level was 1 to 3 years. I was able to bring some people I used to work at from a prior company to really help me out that I've trained, I mentored in the past. So they knew my training methodology. The
Yeah.
one thing I would say the biggest thing I did, and probably I was the first one, the whole company and the whole, I guess, industry to do this, is I'm like, okay, let's start creating training manuals. Okay, roadblocks, how to overcome those roadblocks, and let's put those in Confluence. So it's an easy search tactic, or if they're having an issue, they're not holding up revenue. So they can go in there. Okay, here's an example. Every week we're updating those training manuals, and that really helped scale the company properly because we
Mm,
actually opened up an office in Costa Rica, and it really helped with the training, getting them up to speed. This was right after COVID. People still weren't going in the office, so
yeah.
that set me back. So that was the number one thing. A lot of people, eh, no company that I've worked with previously had any training manuals. So it was, and a lot of people, it seems like the older generation, unless they mentored you, really held that information, their knowledge, and they didn't really share that. So
Yeah.
that's one of the things I really wanted to bring. is in order to scale properly, let's get the right staff who are open and extremely excited about sharing their experience and also want to help people get to the next level. So
Mm,
that really helped me with hiring the right people in those training manuals.
I like that. How do you bring on clients? What is the marketing, what is the lead generation strategies look like for you to onboard more people?
So really it's a lot with my past clients. I had a client survey that I sent out to them. This was actually to help me with marketing. If they would market on my behalf, if I had a potential new logo, would they be interested in talking to them, sharing their experience with myself, and Clearview? That was one of the big things, utilizing those past clients and really networking with them. Hey, do you know anyone else who could utilize our services? I picked
Yeah.
up with clients that way. I'm getting my foot, dipping my toes in the water on LinkedIn, trying to be a lot more active on that. It seems, I would say that's the big thing I've noticed with the LinkedIn is the marketing.
Yeah.
Eventually, the good thing is my wife's a COO currently of a chemical company. So she
Okay.
really helps me with the sales also. You
Like she
know,
takes sales calls or she brings in referrals? What do you mean?
she's actually brought in referrals,
Cool.
but really, if I'm hitting a roadblock, talk to her. How do I overcome this roadblock and really get them to see how I could be beneficial?
Mm,
Because again, people think when they bring you in, especially like AP managers, your job is to get people fired. How to overcome that obstacle. That's the biggest thing.
interesting.
So yeah, she helps me with a lot like purchasing because she works a lot with purchasing and stuff. She's been great benefit for me also to utilize her skill set.
Yeah, I like that. A lot of it is past clients, referrals, networking, and whatnot.
Yep.
I'm curious, do you find that that's a predictable way of generating leads where you can predictably say, okay, week over week, month over month, we know how many leads we're going to get, conversations we're going to have?
Yeah, right now, my goal, I would say in 3 to 4 months, is I want to start, it'll be time to bring in a salesperson. I would say in this industry, that's the hardest thing is really picking up the knowledge base. Really, you need to hire someone from a SaaS or someone from an ERP. A lot of them are from SAP or Oracle, from my experience, or JPD, or I'm sorry, JD Edwards. So
Okay.
they understand the ERP terminology and the basis of it
Yeah.
and the SaaS. That's really what I need to look for in the 3 or 4 months. I really want to hire somebody. And so I can focus more on the AP solutions and help the contract compliance team out.
Yeah. Like actually fulfilling the work instead of focusing on new business. No, that
Yeah, exactly. It's taken a lot of time. I'm starting to take some sales classes. My background's in marketing. I wanted to get in sales out of college. That was my main goal. I like sales. It's just, I really like the operations aspect better now. I
yeah,
flip-flopped over 20 years. Um,
focus on your strengths, right?
yeah, yeah. Again, my strengths, building relationships from day one, understanding they see the benefit, what we provide, and really making sure they don't have any fear. Again, going back to we're out for someone's job. So
100%. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's the
When you think about your vision for the company, let's say over the next 12 months, what are your top priorities?
so my top priorities basically right now, we're actually finalizing the AP solutions tool. I had to pivot about 6 months ago. Actually, one of the first partner I had, he got leukemia. So after 3 months of working on the tool, he had to understandably back out.
Mm,
Then I tried to find another solutions architect. That fell through. So I actually found this third person. Everything seems to be going well. And has a lot more knowledge on the OCR automation aspect, which will help me out being a smaller company
yep.
until I can scale properly. So that's really, I'd say, course growth, right? I'd like to hire 2 to 3 more people in the AP sector. Currently, we have one in contract compliance, one in tax. And I would say that's my overall is one more person in sales, the first person in sales, so that I can focus
Yep.
more on the operations and then, grow 2 to 3 more employees.
Nice. What do you feel like are the biggest challenges you're facing as the CEO?
I'd say growth. Again, overcome the biggest obstacle to overcome is change.
Mm.
That's one of the biggest things I've really noticed. Even though I've had great relationships being a smaller company, making sure I have the right security certificates, data integrity is very big right now.
Yeah,
I've actually lost clients because they didn't think I had the credentials on the security side. I actually just found that out last night.
crazy.
And that, and again, he really liked me. He wanted to go with me, but their IT department said no. Making sure, the solutions architect is aware of that, making sure we have the right certificates in the future so we can overcome those obstacles.
What's one tip you would give to new entrepreneurs starting in 2025?
I would say a lot of peaks and valleys. I've learned a lot of lows and a lot of highs. Just stay focused, stay with it, don't quit. I guess that's the biggest thing. Just realize not everything's going to be peachy and sunny. There's a
Nope.
lot of days you're going to want to give up. You'll low morale, constant things going wrong, no good communication. They just got to stay with it and march on.
I like that. What's the best way for people to reach you?
It's great. So we actually have our own web page. They can reach me on there. They can go on LinkedIn. We have an 800 number they can call. They can contact me via LinkedIn. We have a
Awesome.
sales email, info@clearviewap.com. If they're a past client, hopefully they have my cell number. There's a lot of ways,
Yeah, for sure.
if they want to reach me, I hope they can find a way.
Yeah. For sure. I
So
love that.
yeah,
So awesome, man. Anything else you want to leave people off before I let you go?
the biggest thing I would just want to that I want to make sure they understand is Clearview definitely that's one of the major marketing tools or marketing concepts is transparency.
Yeah.
We're not going to batch everything up. We're not going to make it difficult to see where the root cause is being that issue is arising from, or the systemic issues arising from. We're going to have very clear reporting, and it's going to be not only it's not going to be just at the executive level. It's going to be at the AP manager, AP lead, the site level also. If you're decentralized, we want to make sure, meaning your APs at each facility or each site location, we want to make sure they're aware of the problems too. A lot of times people only present to the executive leadership team.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. And like I said, 15 to 20% reduction. That's how my employees will be judged in their yearly reviews. Are we achieving that? It's not going to be, did you find additional revenue? It's, did you achieve that 15 to 20% reduction? So
Yeah.
really, my goal is to sign a 5-year contract. And then after 5 years, you have an 80% reduction, right?
I
And
like that.
then we're not all about, of course, we're not a nonprofit. We want to make a profit, of course, but our main focus isn't all about revenue increase per year, or are you upselling, or are you selling our software on a SaaS basis? And a lot of the other companies really focus on that. No one ever says, hey, I'm going to get you a 15 to 20% reduction, and this is
Yeah.
how I'm going to do it. We offer that to our client base.
That's huge. That's
Yeah.
huge. That guarantee is massive. And I'm sure with marketing that that should be well known to the people that are aware of you guys. But yeah, I love that. Reach out to Phil if you need any help with everything that we just mentioned. I want to thank you for your time and thank you
Yeah.
for coming on, sharing your journey, sharing your insights. So
Yeah, thank you for having me again. It's been great. I love talking this information. Try to talk whenever I meet someone new. A lot of people, when you say I'm in the source to pay audit, or, they're like, what is that? I'm like, I find companies money, lost money
yeah,
that they're not aware of.
there you go. I love that. So that wraps up another insightful episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you're looking to scale your business and really enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to discover how we can support your growth journey. Until then, keep on climbing.